Well, let's speak to Dr. Mohammed Munir, who's a virologist with Lancaster University, joining us here in the UK right now. Dr. Munir, just explain to us in layman's terms what kind of difference combining two vaccines together would make.
Well, both of the vaccine, the Sputnik 5 and the Oxford AstraZeneca, both are based on the same technology we called vectored vaccine, in which chimpanzee adenovirus in AstraZeneca case are loaded with the spike protein, and that is how our immune system is trained to induce the antibodies as well as T-cell responses. So one of the major differences between both approaches is that the Sputnik V, they uses two different vectors. The first one is adenovirus type 26 and the second one is adenovirus type 5. The advantage is that the first dose of one adenovirus give the immunity against the vector itself, which can be avoided using a different vector in the second dose. And I think probably one of the reasons that the efficacy of the Sputnik 5 has been very high, 92%, and because they are two different vectors. So I think through this collaboration, I'm seeing a very good vaccine coming out by mixing both, because you can avoid the immunity raised against the vector, so you can train the immune system toward more onto the COVID-19 than against the vector itself.
So when we talk about these two vaccines, they work on the same format. You talk about the protein, the coronavirus protein, but when we talk about the efficacy rates, they are slightly different. Does that matter?
Yes, certainly it does matter. I think it is down to the technology itself. For example, in the AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine, since it is being used for two doses, around 21 to 28 days apart, when the second dose is used, some of the virus is neutralized by the existing immunity that was established by the first dose. By using two different approaches, that can tackle this problem. And efficacy does matter, because what we are here looking on is to have the maximum protection, not only just against the infection and getting the severe form of the disease, but also avoiding the spreading of the infection, because that is ultimately what we have to achieve to really curtail this pandemic. And using two different approaches is going to certainly improve the efficacy.
With having two different doses as well, is there a concern that the body could potentially become more immune when it comes to the second dose?
Yes, absolutely. So that is one of the reason that the efficacy of the AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine has been very high with the one small dose and the second full dose, is because the immunity that is established against the first dose would not be allowing the second dose to be fully expressive and train our immune system. And I think combining again both of these approaches is going to certainly bring in some advantages that could turn out to be much better than having an individual vaccine of AstraZeneca and Sputnik 5.
Dr. Munir, fascinating to speak to you. Thank you so much for your expertise. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
We do have much